Welcome, 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 everyone. You have found us here this Sunday in the back room, and we are so pleased that you have joined us here tonight. I'm your host for the evening, Hank Philippi Ryan, the USA Today bestselling author of 14 going on 15 novels of suspense. My current book is The House Guest, which is cleverly on the door behind me. My upcoming book, which is called One Wrong Word, you can see the weird cover, comes out in February, and you will hear way more about that when the time comes. I am also the investigative reporter for Channel 7 here in Boston, winning 37 Emmys for my investigative reporting. And let me introduce them to you now in alphabetical order. Jeffery Deaver. Hey, Jeffery. Welcome, welcome, is the internationally #1 best-selling author of nearly 50 novels and 100 short stories. He served 2 terms as president of Mystery Writers of America and was recently named Grand Master of MWA. And he only gets 15 minutes in a room. That's just all it is. His character, Coulter Shaw, is the basis of the CBS primetime TV show Tracker, which is airing after the Super Bowl in 2024. So we all will be there watching that. His newest book is The Watchmaker's Hand, a Lincoln rhyme novel. I'm in the midst of it. Very good. Well done.
Is that good? I'm slick, right? I've done this before, Hank. You
casually held that up when I said it. Excellent. It's a marvelous book. And so Jeffery Deaver, and we'll talk about that later. Our next panelist is Karen Dionne. It's so funny to be introducing you as a panelist, Karen.
It really is.
Very confusing. I will let you all know that Karen Dionne is the USA Today and #1 internationally best-selling author of the award-winning psychological suspense novels The Marsh King's Daughter and The Wicked Sister, published in the US and dozens of other countries. Very good. Look at that cover, though. The Marsh King's Daughter was just released in 2023, that's this year, as a major motion picture starring Daisy Ridley and Ben Mendelsohn. Karen lives with her husband on a small lake surrounded by a forest in the middle of Michigan. Hold up that cover one more time, because look at that that is the movie on the cover, and that you got that red seal that says now a major motion picture.
That's right.
That's a cool thing. Welcome, Karen. Welcome.
Thanks.
Another thing that's confusing me like mad is James Latoile is with us tonight as an author. Jim has been a moderator here in the back room many times, and now he is here in the bigger square as a panelist. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Jim Latoile uses his 29 years behind bars as an influence in his novels, short stories, and screenplays. Okay, this is the joke, you know this. He is the former associate warden in a maximum security prison, a hostage negotiator, facility captain, and director of California's state parole system. His novels have been shortlisted or awarded the Lefty, Anthony, and the Public Safety Writers Award. Face of Greed, as you can see on the, a copy, is his latest novel. Any news about that, Jim?
Yeah, it's been out about a month, and we've already gone into a second print run. So I've at least met my publisher's expectations so far. So far so good, and it's been well received.
Expectations as well. That I know it's getting rave reviews, and to go into a second printing so quickly is marvelous. That's great. Congratulations. And speaking of congratulations, we have a debut author with us tonight, and we are so honored to welcome Nishita Parekh, who was born and raised in Mumbai and now lives in Texas with her husband and a toddler. So you have a lot of spare time. She is a software programmer, but a writer at heart, and loves writing about her experiences as a woman and immigrant. She is an active member of International Thriller Writers, Crime Writers of Color, and Citrus and Crime, and is a #RevPit contest winner. The Night of the Storm, as you see on the screen, is her first novel, and it comes out in January. So you are hearing about it right here first. Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. First book, hopefully not the last.
I'm sorry?
First book and hopefully not the last one.
Oh, definitely not the last. It's getting amazing reviews, and people are absolutely loving this book, and I can't wait for you to tell people all about it. Is this one of your first events?
I've done a few panels first, but this is more of a first of an informal event wherein, I can see all the attendees. So that's awesome. I'm loving it.
That's great. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are glad that you are here. So we'll start, as always, with our fabulous 20 questions, and I will ask you the questions in the order I see you on the screen. So that means Jim Latoile, you are first.
Uh-oh.
Okay. Jim, what was your first car?
Oh, my first car was a 1968 Volkswagen Bug. It was green and it had this weird automatic stick shift transmission. So you didn't have a clutch pedal, but you had a stick shift you had to move around. And that burnt out so many times. But yeah, I learned how to fix a car based on that little bug.
Was it that weird lime green?
It was a dark green. It was it wasn't the that fluorescent green that came out later. This was a kind of a almost olive drab green. It was kind of plain.
That's a classic car. That was
I wish I had it now. It was fun.
really cool. Nishita, what was your favorite book as a child?
I love the Harry Potter books. So my dad got them when I was a kid, and I like read them multiple times till I had memorized the pages. So that was my gateway drug to books.
Did you like fantasy before that?
Actually, no. I did like mystery before that. So I grew up reading these Enid Blyton novels. I used to love that you can, look at the English countryside.
Sure.
A girl in Bombay could travel all the way to England through books. So that was my first novel that I liked.
A lot of our UK authors, interestingly, started on Enid Blyton. That they cite her as seminal for them. That's so interesting. That's so interesting. Karen, what was your first job?
Oh, okay. My first job was a PB export operator. And I'm guessing that anybody below the age of 60 has no idea what that is. So think Lily Tomlin, Ernestine in Laugh-In, the phone calls come in and she plugs in the wires to connect people. It makes me sound like I'm ancient. I'm not. They were active into the 70s, which is when I had my first job. But what was interesting about it was my mom got me the job, and her desk was like immediately behind mine. So I always felt like, I guess it was a good thing that she could help me, but it always felt like she was looking over my shoulder, making sure that I didn't make any mistakes. So that was my first job.
I was just thinking, is that where the expression "did you get your wires crossed" come from?
Right.
Wow.
It was fun. It was a cool thing. My dad got me my second job. So, I mean, nepotism is alive and well in my family.
If it works, it works. If it works, it works. Next question, Jeffrey Deaver.
Yeah.
Are you a good singer?
Well, first of all, Hank, I have to say that you have asked my wonderful colleagues all of my security questions. So if you want to buy a United Airlines ticket on me, you can now all log in and do that. Actually, first car, first book, and I got to go change them all. Not my first job. What was the question again, Hank? I'm sorry, I wasn't paying
I don't know. Are you a good singer?
No, I'm not. However, I am a good songwriter, only in the sense that I was a singer-songwriter when I was young, and I learned that that job component has two parts: singing and songwriting. I was very good at songwriting. In fact, I had an album come out not too long ago, accompanying my book XO. I wrote an album of country western songs, but the singing part left a lot to be desired.
So I bet you're not a bad singer. What is your favorite song that you
I'm sorry, what was that again?
I bet that you're not a bad singer, because if you have an album come out, it's got to be pretty good. What's your favorite song that you've written?
It's actually I hired a Nashville musician. She did all covers. My favorite song of mine, you can actually, if you won't know, not because you're all listening to us right now, but afterwards, go to YouTube, type in Deaver and Your Shadow. And that's a song that is on, it's a music video, and it's a pretty good song. Actually, I was up against Kanye West for a music award, a Hollywood Music Award. I was prepared to, if he was going to take it away from me, I was going to not put up with anything. And then I think I saw him without his shirt on, and the guy's really buff and cut. And I was going to say, here, Mr. West, take my award, take my award.
No, you could just talk him out of it. You could talk him out of it.
Well,
I would have.
Anyway, I could sing him out of it. Anyway, neither of us won, so we were safe.
Okay, we're going to move right along here. We're going to move right along. But let's get to your book recommendations. Jim, tell us what book you're recommending for everyone.
Yeah, I'm recommending a book by Baron Bircher. It's called The Reckoning. And it's the third book in his Ty Dawson series. Ty Dawson is a lawman, he's a rancher in Southern Oregon, and it takes place in the 1970s, just after the Korean War, and he's a Korean War veteran, and so he's coming home, and you're dealing with that time period, which is kind of fascinating in itself. But Ty Dawson is kind of, if you think of it as a cross between Longmire and Yellowstone, you kind of get a good idea of what the book is about. But it deals with all of the issues that ranchers and things deal with in Southern Oregon as modern culture starts to encroach on all the ranches and things.
That's great. Sounds wonderful. We'll put all these books and all the authors in the chat as soon as we hear from everyone. So you don't even need to write them down. Nishita, what book are you recommending for everyone?
So I'm recommending More Than You'll Ever Know by Katie Gutierrez. We've all heard of those cases, right, wherein a husband has a secret second family out there somewhere and the wives don't know about each other. This kind of flips that concept. So you have a wife who has two secret husbands in two different countries and she's managing two families. It's interesting because I almost have respect for the main character because I can barely keep up with one family. So I don't know how she's able to manage two lives. But the prose is just so lyrical, and I binge read this on my maternity leave, which is why I think I enjoyed it so much, because it gave meaning to all these complex emotions that I was feeling as a new mom, but I didn't have the mental capacity to, formulate what's happening. So if you're a mom or, you want to know about Mexico and, a secret lives and murder, please consider getting this book.
Karen, what are you recommending?
I am recommending The Girls in the Stilt House by Kelly Mustian. This is literary fiction. It's not a thriller, but it has a lot of thrillerish story elements to it. It's about a girl who has a terrible father who grows up in a swamp. And if that sounds a little bit like The Marsh King's Daughter, that amuses me because Kelly is also a friend of mine, and we were writing our books at the same time. And as we were sharing little tidbits, we thought, these books are going to be the same. Well, they couldn't be more different, of course, because that's the way it goes. And Kelly's Swamp is in the South. It's set on the Natchez Trace in Mississippi, and so it's cypress knees and Spanish moss. And it's a swamp area that I'm not familiar with. But as I read the book, I felt like I was transported to this place. I felt like I knew it, and Kelly does know it by on the back of her hand, like the back of her hand. It's beautiful. It's been so well received. Book clubs love it. So if you like books set in the wilderness, try Kelly's The Girls in the Stilt House.
Great, wonderful. I know she's a favorite of yours. And Jeff, what are you recommending?
I'm recommending Richard Osman's The Thursday Murder Club, and I was just completely blown away with it. It's a almost diametrically opposed to what I write. It kind of falls into the cozy category. It's about four, in England they call them pensioners or retirees, in a rather nice fictional retirement community in Kent, and they get together, believe it or not, every Thursday, quelle coincidence, and they talk about real life crimes, and they kind of become Agatha Christie and Sherlock Holmes and try to solve the cold case. But lo and behold, of course, what happens? But a real murder intrudes on their lives, and they have to roll up their sleeves and get to the real investigation. And it is all the characters are very different. They come from different backgrounds. There's a spy. There's a former. Well, I don't want to actually give anything away. Because
and it's funny, right? It's funny.
It's hilarious, and yet moving at the same time, because there's a relationship between a mother and daughter that you're very, you're almost in tears about what's going to happen with regard to that relationship. And so I read it in one sitting, and I guarantee you're going to like it as well.
Wasn't that fun? We hope you enjoyed that taste of what a backroom session is like. But more fun comes immediately afterward. That's when the audience is broken up into 4 breakout rooms, and each author in turn visits each room. We'd love to show you what a breakout session is like, because those relaxed face-to-face conversations between best-selling authors and readers are the hallmark of backroom events. But breakout sessions are never recorded, because what's said in the back room stays in the back room.